Hey, it's Terry, and this is the Something Spooky review of Child's Play, which was released in 2019 by Orion Pictures and was directed by Lars Klevberg. I liked Child's Play and thought it was a fun and clever slasher movie. It just misuses the franchise and the character, and I don't entirely understand why it needed to even do that in the first place. So I like the smart doll angle that they go with for Chucky in this. He can connect to other technologies. He has all the trappings of, modern social media and technology. And I thought that was interesting, but it doesn't feel like Chucky. And it's not Chucky. It's not Charles Lee Ray, the character who possesses himself inside of Chucky in the first movie. It's not voodoo magic. It's not even the Good Guys brand. It's just an entirely different thing, really, and it's taking place in modern contemporary times. So it's not even a faithful remake of the original in that sense, which is all okay. I'm not normally a purist for those things, and I wasn't real married to the original origin story with Charles Lee Ray and all of that, but I just didn't understand why they kind of needed to force this Child's Play banner on something that I think very well could have been its own IP, and it could have been very interesting. But getting into what is in this movie, it starts right away with that new origin, and the origin takes place in Vietnam. I won't get into many spoilers in this movie, but here at the beginning, I'll just say that basically Chucky is reprogrammed. His safety functions are turned off in this factory, and the worker who does it is being abused and commits suicide. And I appreciate the message there. It's about working conditions and just kind of critique of capitalism and all of that. But it's just not very convincing in the way that it's done, and more so, it's not Chucky. It's just an entirely different story right away in the first few scenes. Now, I do also like the characters in this movie, though. Aubrey Plaza as the mom, and I think she does a pretty good job. She's a very modern mom, where her and the kid are cussing at each other, and she kind of has this playful attitude with everything, but it's interesting and it works for the story. Mark Hamill is, of course, the voice of Chucky, and he's excellent, although that is part of the problem also with this whole reinvention is that you're losing Brad Dourif, who was such an iconic voice of Chucky for so long, and now to have a pretty different take on that from Mark Hamill, even though he does a good job, kind of leads more into just, well, why is this Child's Play? It doesn't have the character, really. It doesn't have the backstory. It doesn't have the voice actor. There are some great kills in the movie, and I won't spoil anything specifically. The most I'll say is that I really like the kill with the lawnmower. I think that's one of the coolest slasher kills I've seen in a while. Everything just looks pretty good. There's some cool lighting and cinematography used, and there are just some great, gory slasher kills, but it's all mostly fun in kind of a traditional slasher way. The whole idea of Chucky manipulating technology is kind of interesting. Like I said, there's something there, but the way it's done in this movie makes less sense than voodoo magic. Like before with the voodoo magic, you had the doll coming back to life. Obviously that doesn't make sense. But the way that this doll is able to just manipulate anything around it and control everything, apparently just from having its safety features turned off or something. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe I'm missing something, but it doesn't seem to make much sense. And there are multiple scenes, multiple kills specifically that kind of they're fun and they're creative, but it's wow, how is that possible? Even more than the doll just being a thing. That makes no sense at all. It gets to this point where you're wondering, how many excuses do I have to make for this movie? If you're going to change the backstory and the spirit of the character, why do you have to keep the name? Why would you keep the franchise? Why not make it something that you could be a little more creative with? And then maybe some of these other problems would have worked themselves out. They mention, the filmmakers have mentioned in the film, there is another doll that's being premiered. It's not really involved with the story, so there's no spoilers. But it's a bear. Why not just make it that? Why couldn't that have just been the movie? And then we could have had this new horror icon who's, a little doll who possesses technology. That would have been neat and unique. There is just no reason for it to be Child's Play and Chucky. And not only does it feel a little exploitive, it just kind of took me out of the movie where, I've seen all the Child's Play movies and I love them. And when it's this character is just not behaving really or acting or talking or anything like Chucky, it just kept taking me away from what I could have been enjoying about it. Overall, I did like it. Like I said, there are some fun slasher moments. It is pretty well made and looks pretty good. I like some of the cast, but it just kind of lets me down on this level of being what it says that it is. It's a weird swing and a miss. I'm going to give Child's Play a B-. I do think it's worth checking out if you're a fan of the franchise, but probably even more so if you're just a fan of modern slasher movies. I feel like that is more who this is made for than fans of Child's Play.